Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is basically to turn your stack of analysis on the Vivo X200 Pro 5G into, well, instant knowledge you can use. We're diving into a device that, the tech press keeps calling a benchmark. This phone, it's coming out of that really competitive Chinese market, and it seems like it's taking a direct swing at the big global flagships. Samsung, others. Our goal for you today is simple. We need to figure out why people are calling this thing a serious contender. And, maybe more importantly, does it actually overcome those typical hurdles for international users?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because it's positioned as a true all-rounder, not just like one standout feature. The sources are pointing towards this sort of unified approach, right? Combining premium design, really excellent camera tech, and top-tier performance. They specifically mentioned the 12 GB RAM, 256 GB storage configuration as standard. But the core thing we need to get at is, does the whole package really live up to that benchmark label? Does it offer a genuinely premium global experience, or is it just a powerhouse for its home market?
Okay, let's start with the physical side then, the look and feel. When you pick up the X200 Pro, what's the vibe the sources give off? It sounds like Vivo really went for refinement here. Sleek, modern design, premium materials. It sort of exudes confidence, like it knows its place. And the screen is obviously your main window into that experience. We're talking a big 6.78-inch curved AMOLED display. Visuals seem like a major highlight, especially with that 120 hertz refresh rate. For listeners maybe not super deep into specs, why does 120 hertz actually matter? Is it more than just a bigger number?
Oh, absolutely. It translates directly into fluidity. Like when you're scrolling through feeds or gaming or even just hopping between apps, the motion is just incredibly smooth, really responsive. It gets rid of that sort of judder or choppiness you might see on older 60 hertz screens. It feels, well, fast. And beyond just the refresh rate, the immersion comes from other solid specs too. You get those vibrant colors, amazing contrast, typical of good AMOLEDs, and brightness that actually works outdoors, like even in sunlight. Plus, Vivo seems to have trimmed the bezels right down and used a tiny punch hole for the camera, so you get this massive screen-to-body ratio. Really pulls you in.
Right, and if the visuals are that good, the sound needs to match up, doesn't it? Especially if you're watching movies or something.
Precisely. And the sources confirm that. The X200 Pro apparently pairs that great screen with loud, clear stereo speakers. They even mentioned decent depth, which isn't always a given on phones. So yeah, for media watching stuff, playing games, this combo sounds like one of the best sort of out-of-the-box experiences you can get right now.
Okay, shifting gears to performance. Pure horsepower. We've got that 12 GB of RAM, a powerful chipset. The source keeps saying seamless multitasking, lag-free performance, even under heavy load. But, lots of flagships have raw power. What did Vivo do specifically, engineering-wise, to make sure that power is actually usable and efficient over time, not just benchmark scores?
Right. It seems to be about intelligent system optimization. A powerful chip can get hot, and heat throttles performance fast. So the X200 Pro apparently uses some advanced cooling, thermal management, plus smart software tuning. The goal is to keep it running cool and fast consistently. Even if you're gaming for a while or doing something intensive, it means the power you pay for should actually translate into sustained, reliable speed day to day.
That efficiency is key. But now we got to talk about the elephant in the room with imported Chinese flagships. The software. We know it runs a version of Android, but it's often that China ROM, which can be a real headache for users outside China. The sources mention full Google services, though.
Yeah, and this is huge. This is probably the single biggest practical point for you, the potential international buyer. Historically, importing these phones meant painful workarounds, sideloading the Play Store, maybe dealing with weird notification issues, software that just wasn't fully localized, it was messy. But here, the claim is the Play Store, Google Assistant, all the core Google stuff, it just works perfectly right out of the box. That removes a massive barrier to entry.
Okay, but let's push back on that a little. The software is still described as slightly customized. How slight is slight? Are you going to be battling intrusive Vivo apps? Or maybe that classic issue where Chinese power saving kills background apps and delays your notifications?
That's a fair question, a very relevant skepticism, actually. So the customization seems to be mainly two things. First, a clean, very optimized UI. The sources say it's genuinely fluid and responsive, so that's good. And second, yes, there are some pre-installed Vivo apps. However, The reports stress that you can mostly ignore these or just uninstall them pretty easily. And crucially, because that Google layer seems properly integrated, those notification problems people used to have with aggressive battery management on China ROMs, they seem to be largely fixed here. Once you sign in with your Google account, apparently the experience feels very much like a standard global Android phone, aside from maybe some minor visual tweaks. It feels reliable.
Okay, so we've got power, and it sounds like a surprisingly smooth path into the global ecosystem. Now let's connect performance to power consumption. Battery life. Usually when a phone boasts this much power, the battery takes a hit. How did Vivo tackle that balance?
They went big, really big. Vivo obviously heard the complaints about battery life. We're looking at a massive 6,000 mAh battery here.
Whoa, 6,000 milliamps. That's significant, especially for a phone that's supposed to be sleek. What does that mean in real-world usage, according to the reviews?
Well, for a heavy user, someone gaming, streaming video, using maps a lot, it reportedly lasts a full day comfortably, with juice left over in the evening. And for more moderate users, the sources keep saying it often stretches well into a second day. Getting that kind of endurance with this level of screen and power, that's quite an achievement.
And the charging speed helps make that huge battery less of a, logistical issue. Waiting hours for a giant battery to charge is painful. This one has 90 W fast charging.
Yep, 90 watts. And the convenience factor is what really stands out in the reports. We're talking charging from almost empty to completely full in less than 40 minutes. Think about what that means for your daily routine. No more overnight charging necessarily. You could plug it in while you get ready in the morning or during a quick break, and boom, you're set for the day. It actually changes how you use the phone, that kind of speed.
Well, the sources say it's addictive, and it really puts some big-name rivals, still using slower charging, to shame. Definitely a quality of life boost.
Excellent. Okay, now let's pivot to the area where Vivo seems to be making its loudest claim, the cameras. The sources say this is where the X200 Pro really, really shines and aims to set a new benchmark. Starts with a solid foundation, right? A 50 MP main sensor. Delivers sharp, vibrant shots, good balance in different lighting. Seems pretty standard for a flagship these days, but good. But the feature that just jumps off the page is that telephoto lens. A 200 MP Zeiss APO telephoto. We have to dig into that. 200 megapixels. Yeah, 200 megapixels is a headline number, for sure. A serious bit of engineering. But what does that actually do for the user? It's not just about printing massive photos. Well, first, it gives you incredible flexibility for zooming and cropping after you take the shot. You can crop in really tight on a photo without it turning into a blurry mess. And second, it helps maintain sharpness and detail at long zoom distances. Where most phone telephotos tend to get kind of soft or look like watercolor paintings. This one apparently stays crisp.
And what about that APO part? Zeiss APO, that sounds technical. What does that actually mean for the photos?
Good question. APO stands for apochromatic. So basically, most standard lenses focus maybe two main colors, like red and blue, at the same spot. But this can still leave some slight color fringing, especially around bright edges, or when you zoom, you might see purple or green outlines. An APO lens, though, corrects for three different colors, red, green, and blue, bringing them all to the exact same focal point. This massively cuts down on that color distortion, that chromatic aberration. The result, especially on a high-res sensor like this 200 MP one, should be images that are just incredibly sharp and clear with really pure colors. It's a high-end optics thing you don't see on many phones. Shows Vivo is serious about photo quality.
Okay, so that Zeiss expertise, the APO tech specifically, translates directly into better clarity and color, especially for zoom shots or maybe even portraits.
Exactly. For portraits, that Zeiss collaboration also means, reportedly, really nice background blur, that bokeh effect, plus accurate, natural-looking skin tones, good subject separation. And it's not just a daylight wonder. The sources say low light performance is equally strong, great dynamic range, not too much noise. It seems to be a genuinely versatile, all-conditions camera system.
And video. Does it keep up with the stills performance?
Yeah, video seems solid too, based on the reports. Smooth stabilization, vivid colors. You should be getting pretty professional-looking clips straight from the phone. Plus, they mention the camera app itself is intuitive, easy for quick shots, but also offers manual controls if you want them, without being, overly complicated.
Okay, let's pull all this together then. We've got a stunning display, a really advanced camera system, especially that Zeiss telephoto, massive battery life, and crazy fast charging. It sounds like this device really does excel in almost every key area.
Yeah, and my final take, looking at all the research, still comes back to that accessibility point. Getting the full Google ecosystem working properly out of the box, that just removes the biggest hurdle for anyone outside China considering this phone. It makes all that power, all that camera tech, actually usable and relevant globally. And the consistent message from the sources is that the Vivo X200 Pro 5G delivers a true premium flagship experience, top performance, amazing camera tools, great battery, but without maybe the absolute sky-high price tag you see from some of the biggest competitors offering similar hardware. It really does seem to be setting a new bar, a new benchmark for what you should expect.
A confident verdict. Okay, that leaves us with our final thought for you, the listener, to chew on until our next deep dive. If this combination, powerful performance, super fast charging, and truly high-end photography, driven by that specific 200MP Zeiss APO lens, if that's the new benchmark for a flagship, what previously essential feature might start to become secondary? Something that adds cost, but maybe doesn't directly boost that core experience of speed, power, and image clarity. Could it be things like, say, the highest levels of water resistance, or maybe even standard wireless charging? Could those become less important as people prioritize raw power and lens quality above everything else? Something to think about.